usually people coming to us, they have manual testing background, and you know, um, coming over to automation from manual is a little, you can say, different. Okay, because you know what happens if you have a manual test case. All right, if you have a manual test case and that manual test case, maybe it takes you 5 minutes to test. But when you try to automate it, okay, you try to build a Selenium script in Java for that. Okay, it might take you maybe 30 minutes to automate it. Okay. So it's not like that, or maybe more than that. Okay, may sometimes it takes just 3 hours to automate a script or automate a scenario which would just take 5 minutes to test manually. Because script building is a time consuming process, writing the code and all, and in the end making it stable. Okay, you first make it, then you run it 10 times, it doesn't run 3 times, then you tweak it, and you come down to a point that fine, it starts running smoothly. But once it's ready, it can easily automate your whole application, and it can make your work easy. All right, now the problem comes up when there is a change in the application. If there is a slight change in the application, then you have to modify your script, which is again a time consuming process. Okay, so whether to go for automation in a project or not, okay, whether we should use automation in in the project or not, this is a big question. All right, because I've seen people even in maybe agile methodology, or seriously when the project is unstable. Okay, they take up a project when it is unstable. Unstable means that maybe it is having a lot of bugs in it. Okay, or the application is changing a lot. Okay, they are building the application, it's under development or something, and I've seen people using automation at this stage. You can do that, that's not a problem, but it's going to take a lot of time to automate such applications because they are unstable, they are changing. And obviously, script building is a time consuming process. Manual testing is not a time consuming process. Once you understand the flow, you can continuously do it. So the general idea is that automation, if you ask me, it should be preferred when the project is stable. Okay, because then you would be writing scripts which would be on a stable project. And when you once you write the scripts, you will be constantly running them. Okay, and it's easier to maintain as well because every day the project is not changing and the requirements are not changing. Okay, but automation has a cost. It's cost to the company because obviously if it is taking you 5 minutes to test or something which is manual and 3 hours to automate it, then more hours you put up in the project, the more the billing, and obviously the cost comes down to the company as well for automating their projects. Okay, but the advantage is obviously everybody knows that once it's automated, it can be easily tested anytime. All right. So the question which arises is that how do we do automation? Okay, that how do we start with automation with Selenium? Or how do we learn Selenium to automate the projects? Okay, look, the thing is, it's a process. It's not something which I can say can come to you in 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, or 8 weeks. Okay, it's a process of maybe sometimes people takes 12 weeks. 12 weeks to reach a level where they can actually go and clear an interview or work on a project. Okay, if you just want to learn this tool, that is learn the commands, everything, it will just take you 3 to 4 weeks. That in 20 days, 21, 25 days, you can actually learn that what Selenium is, how it works, what are the commands. Okay, but to learn it to a level where you can clear interview or work on a project, okay, it takes around 12 weeks. Okay, moreover, the thing is what you have to learn. What do you have to learn? And what is your goal? All right. Well, you first have to learn Java, which is really important. Without Java, you cannot learn Selenium. Okay, it is the core basics. It is the core of everything. At times, people come to us with no Java background. They have never done programming. Okay, you might have done programming, but maybe in other language like C or C, C++. But sometimes people with absolute no programming background, they come to us and I generally suggest them not to join the online training directly, get the videos, watch them, get some background, and then join the training again. You just have to pay the difference amount. And you don't have to start, from directly from the classes, because if you come directly to the class, it becomes very hectic if you're not aware of Java direct. Okay. Moreover, in Java, you have to learn object-oriented programming. Oops. Okay. The reason for this is if I go to the official website of Selenium, hold on. Yeah. If I go to selenium.dev, if I go here, this is the official website of Selenium, and it's clearly mentioned over here. Selenium automates browsers. It's only for browser-based tools. Okay. And browser-based websites, basically, it's only for websites. And if you go to download section, first of all, you see this, it's written over here, latest stable version is 3.141.59. And there is something known as Selenium 4 as well. Okay, look, what happened was with time, Selenium got stable. Okay, this project is very old. I worked on Selenium for the first time somewhere in uh, to 2000 and maybe 7, right? And then it was known as Selenium RC. Somewhere around 2011, WebDriver came up 2.0. In 2000, around I think around 16, WebDriver 3.0 came up, and now in 2019, WebDriver 4.0 came up. Okay, but between 3.0 and 4.0 or 3.x and 4.x, there is hardly any difference. But gradually what happened was that this version 3 of WebDriver got stable. Stable means obviously the number of defects which were there in Selenium, they fixed it and they stabilized it, and they fixed the version 3.141.59. This is the most stable version of Selenium, which should be preferred in a project. Stable means it's got very less defects or no defects. Everything is working fine with it. All right. Now they have come up with Alpha 4 as well, Selenium 4 Alpha. This is an alpha version. If you're working on a project, I don't recommend this to be used. If you're working on a project, use this one. If you're learning just for knowledge purpose, you can use Selenium 4. We'll use Selenium 4, but there are hardly any differences between Selenium 3 and 4, except in grid or something. I will tell you later on. Okay, now if you scroll down, you will have Java over here. The version for Java is 3.141.59, 4.0 Alpha 7, and uh, this is download alpha link. Okay, now the thing is you have something known as API docs. If you go over here, then this is the documentation of Selenium, and it's completely object oriented in nature. If you have to learn Selenium, you have to understand this documentation, and you have to understand the OOPS concepts in Java. Once you have done with it, you can learn WebDriver, then you can learn TestNG, you can learn about frameworks, you can learn about Grid, Git, Jenkins, anything. These all are configurations. It's quite vast. Okay, it's not just about learning Selenium. Okay, because what happens is uh, with Selenium you can write few lines of code and that code can interact with the browser. Okay, but your goal is not that. When a client comes up with some basic requirements, that fine, he tells you that fine, these are my say 500 test cases and you have to automate these 500 test cases. Then there are lots of things involved. Okay, there are lots of, you know, things which you have to cater to. Okay, because when you write the scripts, you don't write the scripts for today. Okay, you write them thinking forward that, in tomorrow the client requirements might change as well. Okay, so when you write your scripts, you have to generate reports, you have to manage your data. Okay, and you reports means reports will have logs, screenshots, everything. All right, and you have to implement multiple test cases. All right, and you might have the criteria that you have to optionally run the test cases. That suppose if you're automating 100 test cases, you don't have to run all of them and you just have to run some of them. And most importantly, as I told you, you have to build your whole project in such a way that it caters to the changing requirements of the application, because as I told you, it takes time to modify the scripts and you write the whole scripts, all scripts in such a way that it's impossible to modify them, then it becomes really tough. Okay, let me just give you an example. Like all of you are manual testers, you must have observed these things. Okay, like for example, suppose a client comes up and he tells you that fine, you have to go to a hotel booking website, you have to build a script on that. Okay, you have to go to a hotel booking website, enter the place is Delhi, enter the check-in and check-out dates, okay, number of rooms you are wanting, and you know, select the hotel which you want to book, and you add a particular room, enter the guest details, make the payment, and check if the confirmation email comes after payment or not. Okay, so you have to make this simple Selenium script. Okay, and then he says that the second test case is go to a booking, cancel it, and check if the cancellation email is coming or not. So you make two Java files. In one Java file, you keep this scenario. In the other Java file, you keep this scenario and you automate the test case. Fine. I'm not going into how you write the test case. I'm just telling you that what happens with time. Now, next time the client comes up with a second requirement, he tells us that this test case has to be changed. And this time a payment method has to be added. Maybe I'm paying through Google Pay on the website or credit card or net banking. These are the three payment options supported by us. So you write script which tests all the three. So you go and modify this Java file which you had made and you keep some if else statements in it for the payment integration. If the payment gateway is Google Pay, then you write the script which will pay through Google Pay, otherwise credit card, otherwise net banking. And the cancellation process remains the same. Okay. Now again, after a month or so, client comes up again and he tells you that fine, that is good, but you have to add something that is um, just a minute. This thing changed it. Just a minute. Yeah. He tells you next time that fine, you go to the website and you can enter the place as Delhi, or you can directly search by the hotel name as well. Earlier you were searching by the city name. Okay, right. Next time he tells you that fine, this time I can either search by the city name or I can directly type the hotel name as well. For example, Marriott New York, something like that. So obviously your requirement will again change. You will again change the test function. It will become more complicated that whether you have to search by city or you have to search by the hotel name. Okay. In the fourth requirement change, the client tells you that fine, there is a new option that is pay at hotel, which is actually there in our website now, and that has to be integrated. That is, the customer instead of paying online, he can come to the hotel and pay, and but he can make the reservation online. So in the end, you add this also in your test function, you add more if else and all those logics. So what happens is that with time, the logic becomes so complicated in this one test case that you yourself are very confused that what type of code you have written while automating it. So that's what I wanted to tell you, that when you make a project in automation, you have to cater to the changing requirements of the application as well, because you don't write scripts for today, you write scripts for tomorrow. So all this comes with knowledge as well as experience. Okay, so the first thing is that in this training, we'll have to learn Selenium and Java. Okay, basic commands. Okay, basic commands. That is, how do you write commands in Selenium which can interact with the browser or control the browser. Then you have to learn to build the test cases. Okay, using TestNG or something. And then you have to build tests which are something like this. Okay, you cannot just directly jump over to this. All right. So that's what the goal of the training is. Fine. So as I told you, what is the goal? The goal of the training is to first help you learn these basic things. What are these? And eventually learn a framework. Framework is an end-to-end project. Okay. If you have any questions, you can ask me anything. Anything. Okay. So now, obviously for Java, you can install Java 8. Java 8 is very stable. Okay. And it's supported till 2030. Okay. You can just download JDK 8. Fine. And I hope you have also downloaded Eclipse. Okay. You can download Eclipse and any version, latest version you can download and you can start up Eclipse. And this is the screen you will see. Fine. Now the first thing is you'll have to learn about object-oriented programming. Fine. Oops. So you create a new Java project. Okay. I'll call it oops object-oriented programming. This is the backbone. Okay. Everything in Selenium is object-oriented. Okay. Let me take up examples. Right. This is the project. If you expand it, you will see source folder. GRE system library is nothing but Java, which is installed in your system. Okay. And this is the source folder in which you have to, or you make all the Java files and all everything. Okay. Now let me just make a new class and I will call it, say, phone. Class is basically the basic entity in Java. Okay, everything happens in a class. A Java file phone.java has the corresponding class. This is the class. This opening and closing bracket is the, you can say, boundary of the class. Okay. I'll increase the font size. Okay, now this is the phone class, and inside it, sorry, I can define what are the properties of a phone. For example, name of a phone, int number, what is the mobile number, or what is the name of the phone, or what is the model of the phone. So these are the two properties of this phone class. Okay, and I'll make a new class known as, look, I'm assuming you know basic things, that is what integer is, what a for loop is, what a while loop is. Okay, I'm assuming you have that much basics of programming with you. Okay, I'll make a file known as test phone, and with the main function. This main function is something which is called by default when you execute this test phone.java. Okay, inside it, I will just write over here testing phone, and when I run this test phone.java, so you see that it prints testing phone. So system.out.println is used to print something. Now what I'm going to do is that I have two different Java files, phone.java and testphone.java. Okay, in testphone.java, I'm going to create object of phone.java. How do we create it? You simply write new phone. If you write this line new phone, then it will create the object of phone.java, and when you run this, nothing happens. Okay, it will print testing phone. But what do you mean by creation of an object? What happens internally? And what is the benefit of creation of the object? Okay, if you look at this, then what happens is that in the memory, the object of the phone class is created. Okay, and you have got two variables, name and number, inside this object. Okay, you can create as many objects as you want. I'm creating three objects, and in the memory, three objects would be created. Each object would be having name and number. Okay, now what you need to do is that you need to give these objects object references in order to access them. In order to access these objects, you have to give them references P1, P2, and P3. P1 is the object reference for first phone, P2 for second, and P3 for third. So P1, P2, and P3 become your three object references. The object references, they point towards the object. Object and object reference, they are different. You will soon come to know that how they are different. Object is a memory space, a physical memory space allocated. Inside the object, you have got everything, whatever is there in the class. But object reference can change the state of the object. For example, I can write over here p1 dot name is phone, or say iPhone. Okay, p1 dot, when you write dot, you will get these variables. Okay, p1 dot number is, you can specify some number. Similarly for p2 as well. Okay, for p2 you can write p2 dot name is Android, and p2 dot number is, you can change the number. Fine. Similarly, p3 dot name is, you can put up say Samsung. So you can have every object initiated to a different value. Okay. Right. So you have got name over here as say iPhone. Okay, this phone would have, hold on, name, variable and number in it. Okay, now you can have name iPhone over here. Okay, and similarly over here I can have, this is Android, and this is say Samsung. Okay, I'm just giving random things, don't go on the models. Okay, so I can actually print it. I can print p1 dot name or p1 dot number. If I want, I can print all the three phone objects. Okay, when I run the program, you can run it from this button, run. All the three objects would have different values. But phone class as a class is a simple class which is just having these two properties. Okay, but by creating the object of this phone class again and again, I can give each property different value. Okay, so this is the use of creating objects. That is, you can create multiple objects of a class and you can initialize every object differently. Okay, now if I write over here p1 equals to p2, what does this mean? This means that p1 will point towards the same location. P1 will move from here and P1 will point towards the same location where P2 is pointing. P1 equals to P2. So you can have two object references for a single object as well. If I write these three lines again, so P1 and P2 both will be printing Android. Double slash is a comment in Java and P3 will print Samsung. So when you run this, you see that. Okay, so two objects can point, two references can point towards one object as well. And they can retrieve the state and they can also uh, change the state. That is, you can write p1 dot name is Nokia. So when you print these three same again, so when p1 changes the name changes from Android to Nokia over here. So either when P1 or P2 retrieve the name, either of them, when they retrieve the name, they will get Nokia. So these two are going to print Nokia. So when you run this code, You see that, right? So if you have any questions, you let me know.
So Ashish, when we give P1 equal to P2, the P2 one will get the same as P1. That's what you're saying, right?
P1 will move to P2.
P1 will
When
move
I
to.
write int I equals to 10,
Mm-hmm.
10 I becomes 10, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Similarly, P1 will become
P1
P2.
will, okay, okay, the other way. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Okay. So this way it works. Now, how do we use this in Selenium? We saw, guys, give me 1 minute, please. I'm really sorry. Just give me one
Yeah.
minute. Hello, sorry. Yeah, I'm sharing my screen. Sorry. Yeah. So over here, it is like when you write P1 equals to P2, P1 starts pointing to the location where P2 is pointing. Now, I am not going to tell you Java first and then Selenium or something like that. Now, what I'll tell you is hold on. I'll tell you Selenium along with Java that we have studied this. Okay. How is this going to be used in Selenium? Okay, just sometime I am going to tell you. Now, suppose in your phone class, you have a variable known as, say, number of microphones. Now, every phone has got one microphone or number of batteries. Every phone has got one battery. Okay, the capacity might vary. So for every phone, I will write number of batteries equated to 1. On P2 or P3, I will just write P2 dot number of batteries to 1, and P3 also number of batteries equated to 1. So what will happen is that in the memory, you will have the variable number of batteries, which will be there in every object, and that will be equated to 1. Okay, now this is something which is actually not good, because we know that every phone is going to have one battery and you are unnecessarily creating one variable equating it to 1 inside every object. So what we do is that we make this variable static. When you make this variable static, it is removed from the object. Okay, and it goes at a common location, number of batteries. Okay, so every object can access this variable from this common location. When you make it static, it is no longer part of the object. You can directly call it. You see that I'm getting warning over here that I'm accessing number of batteries with the object name. It should not be done like this. It is not good. Okay, static things are not part of the object. Sorry. So what you do is that to access static, you can directly access it with the name of the class. Phone dot number of batteries are 1. When you write this, okay, phone dot number of batteries to 1, initializes this variable over here to number 1. Okay, it initializes the total number of batteries to 1. So for all objects, it becomes 1. Static things can directly be called with the name of the class. To access non-static, okay, these are non-static. This is known as a non-static global variable. This is also known as a non-static global variable. This is known as a static global variable. So to access a non-static global variable, you have to create the object of the phone class. To access a static variable, you can directly call it with the name of the class. If you have a function in this class, for example, public void print details, and inside it, or a function like make a call, inside this function, you print the name of the phone calling. So this is known as a non-static function. It can access the non-static variables, and this non-static function is also part of every object. Make a call, make a call, and make a call will be part of every object. If I write over here, say p1 dot make a call, or p2 dot make a call or p3 dot make a call. Whether it is p1 or p2 or p3 calling the function. Okay, you print name plus calling. So this particular name is the name of the phone. Okay, so if p1 is calling make a call, then it will use the name of p1. If p2 is calling make a call, it will use name of p2, like that. So when you run this, you will see that Nokia calling, Samsung calling. P1 and P2 are both pointing to Nokia. Okay, so to access non-static functions or non-static global variables, you have to create objects. But if you have to access static global variable or a static function, a function like public void public static keyword you keep void xyz, you print anything inside it. If I have to call this function, I can directly call it. I can write phone dot xyz. So when you run this code, see it prints hello. So static functions can directly be called, and non-static functions, in order to call them, you have to create the objects of the classes. Now what happens in Selenium? How does static and non-static plays in Selenium? How do we create the objects of classes in Selenium? The first thing is you should understand how to download Selenium. Okay, downloading Selenium is very simple. You simply go to the Selenium website and under the download section, scroll down. You will have the Java module. You will have the link alpha download. Okay, you click on this link. You will have the jar file being downloaded. Hold on. I think I have it in my PC. Just a minute. What is this? Just a minute, guys. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. So you have got, when you download this folder, you will have so many jar files. These are jar files. Okay. And under the lib folder, you will also have a lot of other jar files. What are jars? Okay. Why are jars used? All right. You can say, I'll explain you in simple terms that you have got two Java files over here, phone.java and testphone.java. If you look at your project, if you right click on the project and go to the properties section, this will hold the location where the project is on the hard drive. Okay, if you copy this location and go to this location, all right, so out here you will see different folders and files. How do we use them? If you look at the source folder, you will find these two Java files. And if you look at the bin folder, you will have these two class files. Okay, so out here, source folder, no matter how many Java files are there, in the end, the Java files are converted to class files. Okay, and class files, they are actually executables. You will not able to understand anything in them. All right. Now, these are the files which actually get deployed on the servers and all when the developer says we are deploying and all or something. So these are nothing but class files. Okay. Now out here, if you have many class files, not just this class file, if you have many other class files as well, and you have to give the class files to someone or you have to do the deployment or something. Okay. So how do you do that? How do you deploy many class files which are actually present after converting many Java files? So what you do, you put all the class files in a single file known as a jar file. Because if in a project you have got say 100 Java files and 100 Java files get converted into 100 class files, and each class file has to be deployed on the server, it becomes tough. So what we do, put all the, it's like zipping something. Okay, so we put all the class files in a single file known as a jar file. If you look at Eclipse, this is GRE system library. If you expand this, if you expand this, you will see many jar files out here. Each jar file will have number of class files. Okay, so each class file will have lot of functions and all which you can use. For example, for example, I have this file. If I write over here, new date. Okay, so out here, if I run this code, I've just created object of an internal date class. Okay, it's in Java. So it printed the current date, time, everything. Okay, right. So I'd never had to write the logic to calculate the date, time zone, anything. It automatically came up. So that is the good thing about a class. You can use the pre-existing features. And that's exactly what Selenium guys do. When you download Selenium, you get a lot of jar files. Okay, you get a lot of jar files in the lib folder as well. So these guys, they give you a lot of jars having a lot of internal classes which you can reuse, just like I used the date class. Okay, for example, I'll tell you, I'll just right click, go to the properties and you know, go to the libraries. There are many tabs. I'll go to the libraries tab, click on add external jars and go to the jar file, select all the jar files. Okay, and add them in the project. Okay, and also the jars inside the lib folder, add them all, select all of them, add them in the project. So you will, please don't forget to add the jars in the lib folder. You will have the reference library section generated in which you will have all the jars. So once you have added these jars, you can use the features of Selenium, and Selenium is configured. This is how Selenium is configured. There is no installable for Selenium, nothing. You just need to get the jars inside Eclipse. Okay, right. Now, out here, if I create a new class known as Selenium browsers, out here, I just write new Chrome driver. Just a minute. This code might not work for you when you are writing it. Okay, but let me just write this thing and run it. So what you'll see is that a blank Chrome browser. Okay, it got crashed anyways. You see for a while a blank Chrome driver or a Chrome browser got opened. Okay, look, in Selenium, every class has a driver or every browser has a driver, sorry. Okay, if you look at the documentation and if you go to the API docs over here, you will see these are all the classes on the left side. Okay, and out here we have got for Chrome, Firefox, IE. For every browser, we have a different class in Selenium. If you scroll down, you will have something written as WebDriver in italics. Okay. So if you click on this, you will have interface WebDriver written. What is interface? I'll tell you. But below that, we have got Chrome driver, Edge driver. You have got event firing web driver, Firefox driver. So there is a driver class for every browser. Okay, Chrome driver, as the name suggests, is for Chrome, and Firefox driver, as the name suggests, is for Firefox. Edge driver is for Edge browser. Uh, Remote, this Safari driver and Opera driver aren't very stable. Okay, remote web driver is for basically Selenium grid when you have to run the test cases parallelly and all. Okay, we look at these drivers gradually. We will look at them and we'll study them. Okay, for time being, let's look at Chrome driver first. Okay, that basically what it is and how it behaves. Okay, so Chrome driver, you can create the object of Chrome driver class like this. When you create the object, you will get an error. Okay, you have to move the mouse and import this Chrome driver from the package. But when you run this, it will not run in your PC. You will get an error. Chrome will not be launched. Okay, look, for every browser, we have got driver classes. You have to configure those driver classes properly. All right. You have to download certain exes. to have your browsers automated. Fine. On the download section only, if you scroll down, you will have third platform supported by Selenium and the browsers. You see, in case of Chrome, they have given a link. Please refer to documentation information. Go open this link. You will have Chrome is by Google. So Google has given a special exe for automating Chrome browser. Okay, which you have to download based on the browser you have, browser version. So first of all, go to Chrome, open Chrome, which is there on your machine. And in your Chrome, go to help menu about Google Chrome and just note the version. My version is 87.0.4280.66. Okay, corresponding to this version, I will have to download an exe. All right. So on the link which I have opened for this particular version, they have it mentioned. Okay, so or you can, if you have the older version of Chrome, you can go to the download section and you can find the version of Chrome you are having, and correspondingly you have to download an exe. Okay, like click here and I'll download this 32-bit zip and it's over here and I will copy it. Just a minute. You paste it here and extract it. So you will have a Chrome driver exe file. You note the path. Okay, don't run this exe, you will not get anything. And give a command that is system dot set property. Look, system is an internal class inside Java, just like we had the date class. And set property is a static function. All right, and you specify the key that is WebDriver dot Chrome dot driver. Everything should be in lowercase. Sometimes people write W capital. No, Java is case sensitive language. Okay, WebDriver dot Chrome dot driver and give the path to the Chrome driver dot exe file. Okay, you write this line and then you run this command. You create the object of Chrome driver and you will see that a blank Chrome will open up. So it's not a rocket science. Everything is inbuilt. You just need to know the commands in Selenium. Okay. Now in this, with this Chrome driver object, you get access to all the static, non-static functions which you are having in Chrome driver class. For example, get function. Take you to a URL. You mention the URL here. Run this and this will open up Chrome and load yahoo.com. Okay. Right. So that's how you execute the programs. Fine. Now everything inside Selenium is inbuilt. Chrome driver is inbuilt. The get function is inbuilt. You just need to know the commands. Okay, there are commands to do everything. If you have to click on a link, if you have to select a drop down, if you have to do this, that, for everything there are commands. The skill in learning Selenium is not about learning these commands. It is about building the real-time projects with these commands. That is what you have to learn. You can search on net, you can study here or there, you will be able to learn these commands, but how to use them, how to build a project, how to build a framework, how to build test cases. That's what is required. Okay. Anyways, if you have to get the title of the web page, the command is chrome driver dot get title. This will get the title from the web page. Okay. And similarly, you have got other classes, which I'm going to talk about now. Firefox driver, Edge driver. These are stable. Okay. And moreover, just a minute. This Chrome driver, which I have mentioned here, you have to be careful about. I'll write it over here. You have to be careful about the version of Chrome and the Chrome driver exe. Okay, right. So let's have a break for 10 minutes. Okay, I'll resume after a break of 10 minutes. Fine.
Yep.
Let's
Yeah.
just break for 10 minutes. Huh? Okay. Fine, everyone. Let's start. I'll just share screen. Okay. So now out here we have seen this Chrome driver class. Okay. Similarly, you have got Firefox driver, Edge driver. Okay. But for those also you have to download exes, right? You go to their official website, go to the Firefox page. You have the documentation for supported versions. And for Selenium versions they have given. Okay, Firefox versions they have given. Don't worry, just scroll down and drivers, you click on this link. Okay, and scroll down, download this 0.28 version. That is more than enough. Okay, for 64-bit Windows. Right, save the file. And then you will have this downloaded. Paste it here, extract here. And you give the line system dot set property. Again, for in case of Firefox driver also, you have to write the command system dot set property, and you can give WebDriver dot gecko dot driver to the path of the exe file. In the value, you have to specify the path of gecko driver dot exe, and you have to create the object of Firefox driver class. Okay, and Firefox driver dot get, go to the website http yahoo.com. Okay, so if you are not writing this line, this will not work. Okay, so if I comment these lines, comment means making them disabled, double slash is comment, and when you run this code, you will see that Firefox will open and it will go to yahoo.com. Okay, now once this is done, you can talk about Edge. Talk about Edge. You have the class Edge driver. Actually, Edge these days is also Chrome. It's basically the Chromium engine which is running behind Edge. There has been a tie-up between Microsoft and Google now. On the surface, the browser is Edge, but beneath it, it is the Chromium engine, the Chrome engine which is running it. So if you launch your Edge browser and hold on, it's taking a little while to start up. Guys, I won't take a very long class today. Honestly, I'll just talk about browsers. That's it. It's the first day. I don't want to complicate things. Okay, I'll send you the recordings as well. All right, generally I don't just start off with the rush. Okay, with the speed edge. Yeah. So if you go here, go to the help and feedback about edge. You will notice the version. Mine is 87.0.664.47. And if you go to the official website, that is selenium.dev, and under the download section, you see the Edge documentation. In the Edge documentation, they have given for every release. My release is, I forgot the number, 87.66. So my Edge version would be corresponding to this version. This is mine. So I'll have to download it for 64-bit Windows. Okay. And I'll have to put it under the download section. So this is the edge driver.exe, which has got downloaded MS Edge driver. So Microsoft has provided this driver. Okay. And you can do one thing. You can write the same line like we wrote for the other browsers, and webdriver.edge.driver, and you give the edge driver exe, and you create the object of edge driver. Again, in edge driver, in every driver, you have to be careful about the version and all of Gecko driver you have downloading corresponding to the browser, and edge driver will also open up. Okay, so this is fine. This is good. This is how you work with the browsers. But the question which comes into the mind is that whether for every browser you will have to create a separate script. Like if I have to run my script on Chrome, then I create the object of Chrome driver. For Firefox, I create Firefox driver. Okay, so how do I write a single script which works on all the browsers and all? I'm going to tell you that in the next class. I'll tell you interfaces in Java. So moreover, these lines over here, you can actually get rid of these system.set property lines as well. All you need to do is that keep all your exes in a single folder like I have done. Copy the path of this folder. Okay, go to my computer properties and go to advanced system settings and go to environment variables. Fine. And you will see a variable known as path. Edit this system variable under system variables. Path variable will be there. And you simply create a new path and give the path of the drivers folder. Restart your PC. And after restarting your PC, if you go to your code and don't mention these lines, okay, if you comment these lines and execute the code, it will automatically run. It will pull up the exes from this particular path. Okay, so this is how it works. So I'm not going very fast on the first day. Simple Selenium, simple object-oriented programming, some objects we created, and we saw how basically objects are used in Selenium. Okay, I can continue forward for a longer time, but I think it's good for a first class. Okay. If you have any questions, you can ask me anything.
Ashish, when you